Now, from the area's leader in live local news, this is WYLN News, the area's #1 source of live local news and information in Luzerne, Schuylkill, Carbon, and Columbia counties. WYLN News starts now.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us on WYLN News. I'm Preston Endress. A Luzerne County man is facing a list of charges following a state police investigation into the abuse of an infant. Troopers from the Wilkes-Barre Criminal Investigation Unit were called to Geisinger-Danville Hospital in December after the 2-month-old was treated for several injuries such as multiple fractures, spinal injuries, internal bleeding, and head trauma. After reviewing video evidence from inside the home, investigators identified the child's father as 21-year-old Dalton Decker from Plymouth as the suspect. Police believe that the infant was assaulted multiple times over a 6-day span period at the home on East Poplar Street. Decker was charged on January 22nd with a list of offenses including aggravated assault, indecent assault involving a minor, strangulation, and endangering the welfare of a child following a consultation with the Luzerne County District Attorney's Office. The case remains under investigation, and court records will determine Decker's next court appearance. The Wilkes-Barre City Police Department is looking for help in the search of a missing girl. Lania Clark was last seen on January 17, 2026, and has been missing since. She is approximately 5 foot 8 inches tall, 150 pounds, wears stud earrings and a necklace with a picture of her father. Anyone with information about her whereabouts is asked to contact Detective Conmee at 570-208-6775. Not only Pennsylvania received heavy snowfall on Sunday, but many states across the U.S. also experienced it, making it harder for airports to stay on time for flights. Some of the nation's biggest airports have canceled or delayed flights due to the snowstorm, where a total of more than 11,500 flights were affected, according to FlightAware. Nearly 180 million people were affected from the storm, with major airports closing in the Northeast. In Philadelphia, 326 flights were canceled, which is 94% of their flights. LaGuardia Airport canceled 91% of their flights, and JFK Airport canceled 80% of their flights. Most airlines were expecting cancellations and delays from the storm and would offer their customers solutions to get to their destination. Public infrastructure was left rearing from the impact of this weekend's winter storm. LCTA and Hazleton Public Transit buses both put their buses in park on Monday due to the harsh conditions caused by the snowfall. And today, both LCTA and HPT are running on snow routes after having a delayed start to their services at 9 o'clock a.m. There is currently no word on if there will be any further delays tomorrow. To check for updates, visit ridehpt.com for Hazleton Public Transit news and lctabus.com for LCTA news. On Sunday afternoon, flames ripped through a business in Monroe County. The fire started around 4:30 p.m. at Pocono Transmission in Blakesley along Route 115. Crews spent hours on the scene trying to put the fire out. Thankfully, nobody was hurt in the fire, and the state police fire marshal was called to investigate the cause of the fire. Coming up on WYLN News, a man has admitted to robbing a Dollar General in 2024. Plus, we've discovered yet another obscure and strange national holiday that takes place today. But first, we'll take a look at our 5-day forecast brought to you by the WYLN Weather Kids. We'll be right back.
Brought to you by Lehigh Valley Health Network, part of Jefferson Health. With LVHN Same Day, Next Day Cancer Care, you can get a video visit with a clinician within 48 hours following a cancer diagnosis. Learn more at lvhn.org/cancercare.
Hi, my name is Victoria and I'm 7 years old. Tomorrow the weather will be partly cloudy.
We want your child to be our WYLN Weather Kid. Your child can be our feature weather reporter of the day on WYLN News and WYLN social media posts, just by using your smartphone or any video recording device. It's easy. All ages are welcome, from toddlers to teens. To find out how, go to the weather section of WYLNTV.com or look for our post about it on the WYLN News Facebook page. Submit your Weather Kid video today.
Something is out there. What it is, no one knows. However, since its first sighting, there have been numerous reports of strange lights in the night sky. Some say they are extraterrestrials, flying saucers. But to all of those seemingly unrelated uncertainties, there is one common thread.
Watch Solo Spaceman on WYLN Thursdays at 1:30, Saturdays at 7, and Sundays at 4:30. Hey, did you know WYLN posts news stories and other bonus content on social media all week long? The Weather Kids, Fresh from the Farm, Everyday Heroes, Let's Talk Sports, Feel Good Friday, daily news stories, and more. Visit WYLNTV.com, Facebook, and YouTube to check it out. WYLN, the local leader on social media. We're your local network. Come shoot at Whitetail Preserve, 118 Boulevard Road in Bloomsburg. Their skeet, trap, and sporting clay fields are professionally designed, and all stations are handicap accessible. Whitetail Preserve has resident shooting instructors certified by the NRA in shotgun, rifle, pistol, home safety, and personal protection in the home. Whitetail can also cater any size event, whether it be a private party, corporate event, or wedding. Call 570-384-2314 or 570-790-8969. When you see news happening in your neighborhood, call WYLN News at 570-459-1869 or email us at news@WYLNTV.com or send us a message on social media through Facebook. WYLN, we're your local network. Attention WYLN viewers, WYLN TV can now be seen on the Hazelton Service Electric Cablevision HD tier, channel 507, and over the air at 35.1. WYLN, we're your local network.
Welcome back to WYLN News. Pennsylvania State Police are investigating a road rage incident that took place in Schuylkill County that led to the threat of a weapon. In a public information release from the Frackville Patrol Unit, the incident occurred on December 27th around 3:42 p.m. in Frackville. Troopers say that the 54-year-old victim was traveling northbound on State Route 61 in Newcastle Township when the driver of the car behind her began swinging an axe out of the window. As the victim stopped at a red light on Route 61 and Spring Street, the suspect exited his vehicle and held the axe overhead as he walked towards the victim's car. The victim was able to flee and reach a safe location. The suspect left the scene in an unknown direction. State police described the suspect as a white male about 6 feet tall with a stocky build, short dark facial hair, and glasses. He was driving a white Kia SUV. The case is under investigation as a terroristic threat incident. Anyone with information is asked to contact Pennsylvania State Police Frackville at 570-874-5300. A man who allegedly robbed a Dollar General store in Wilkes-Barre is admitting to his actions. On July 3, 2024, 60-year-old Thaddeus Dutch Ulmer attempted to rob at a Dollar General store in Wilkes-Barre where he threatened 2 employees with firearms. According to court records, Ulmer aimed the handguns at the employee's head and forced them into the bathroom. The front door was locked, so Ulmer forced one of the employees to open the door. Police later identified Ulmer as the suspect from the surveillance footage, as he was known to have gold teeth. Ulmer was arrested during a traffic stop on July 7, 2024. On Tuesday during trial, Ulmer admitted to robbing the dollar store, where he then pled guilty on 2 counts of robbery and terroristic threats. Once again, we at WYLN have found another obscure national holiday to talk about. Today, January 27th, is National Chocolate Cake Day, the day that celebrates the most popular cake flavor, also the one created in 1765 when a duo formed to accomplish something great. A chocolate maker and apparently a doctor teamed up in an old mill where they ground up cocoa beans between big millstones to make thick syrup, which was then poured into cake-shaped molds. This was originally meant to be converted into a beverage. This particular holiday encourages every cake lover to have some delicious chocolate cake, share it with others, visit bakeries, appreciate the bakers, and even bake the cake as well. While we normally don't talk about trends on social media, an extra way of celebrating the holiday is having a chocolate cake ready to eat, take a picture, and post with #ChocolateCakeDay. For more ways of celebration, there are various web pages with enthusiasm on the holiday, but the main thing to do is have a chocolate cake and eat it too. Coming up on Zion Grove's News Choice, we check in with Trooper Anthony Petrosky with this week's final Trooper Talk Tuesday. Plus, WYLN historian Chris Fulmer leads us down the path through history with Lehigh in Part 2. And stay right here on WYLN. We'll be right back.
It's cold out there. Call S.J. Kowalski for the best products and solutions to help lower your energy costs and keep your family safe and comfortable this winter. Our professional team has unparalleled experience with all the latest innovative types of heating systems. We're a Lennox premier dealer, installing high-quality equipment, providing the ultimate experience in comfort and climate control while being energy efficient. S.J. Kowalski, heating and cooling the way the earth intended.
Do you like craft beer? Do you want to learn the right way to sample wine? How about checking out a restaurant with a unique flavor or a crazy food challenge? These are just some of the things we are featuring on Wine, Hops, and Road Stops. So, spend some time learning about great wine, great beer, and great food on WYLN TV 35.
WYLN TV 35 is expanding and is on the hunt for a dynamic salesperson to join our vibrant team. If you've got the passion and the drive, we want to hear from you. Send your resume to the email displayed on your screen. Don't miss this great opportunity.
Are you looking for a trustworthy publishing company to publish your book? One that understands the process and upholds Christian values in its business practices?
Introducing Covenant Books, an author-friendly publisher who shares your beliefs and wants to publish your story. Call us today to get a free author packet to help get you started.
We realize your book is unique, personal, and written with a higher purpose. That's the content we're looking for.
We provide authors freedom and flexibility throughout the publishing process with professional book editing, award-winning design, and some of the highest royalty structures in the industry.
Covenant distributes and sells your book online and in bookstores everywhere. We convert your book in ebook format and sell it on Amazon, Apple iTunes, and to these distributors. Our authors love us.
So if you've written a biography, a devotional, a memoir, self-help, or any genre, we can help. Be like these authors and get your book published and sold today.
Call right now for your free writer's guide.
1-800-215-3680.
WYLN programming is online all the time. Visit our website at WYLNTV.com to check out archive shows and a live stream of our broadcasts. And don't forget to visit all of our social media pages for breaking news, weather, and sports. You can also head directly to our YouTube page for all our programming at youtube.com/WYLNTV35. Subscribe and ring that bell so you get notified every time there's a new show available online. When you see news happening in your neighborhood, call WYLN News at 570-459-1869 or email us at news@WYLNTV.com or send us a message on social media through Facebook. WYLN, we're your local network.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another Trooper Talk Tuesday segment here on WYLN. I'm Trooper Anthony Petrowski, Troop N Public Information Officer. Our last and final segment for Scams Awareness Month is distraction burglaries. Yes, distraction burglaries is something, unfortunately, it does happen in our area. And what it is it's a team of individuals, or it could simply be one individual, trying to persuade their way into your home. Which, by the way, I'm going to stop there and say something very important. If somebody comes to your house and they are trying to ask you to come in their house, knocking on the door, saying they're with this company, you are not required to let anybody in your home unless they're wearing a uniform like mine that says search or arrest warrant. Other than that, you're not required to just let anybody in your home. So simply talk to them through the door, a locked and closed door. Talk to them through a window. If you're unsure of somebody, if you weren't expecting somebody to come to your door from a company, then don't just open the door and let them in, because that's them distracting you into getting into your home. So typically how it works is somebody will come to your home dressed like some sort of utility worker. They're going to have some kind of fluorescent colored shirt on. They're going to have a lanyard with an ID, which you never ask to see their ID, and you'll know why here in a second. And they'll have a walkie-talkie. And what they'll do is they'll say, hey, I was just at your neighbor's house. I'm just checking something on their water heater. It'll take me 2 minutes and then I'll be out of your hair. And you think, well, this sounds legitimate. He was just at my neighbor's house. He looks like a professional. And then when you let them in, they will say, hold on, I just got to contact my partner. And they'll say something in the radio. And that's cue to let their partner know, hey, I'm in the house. Now it's your turn to come in. And so they're going to tell you, hey, come on down with me. It's only going to take me 2 minutes. So as you go with this individual to a different room or the basement, their partner is coming in your house. Because chances are, and I want you all to think about this, When you let somebody in your home, when you're home, and you let them in to do work or take a look at something, give an estimate, do we ever really lock that door behind us? No, that front door is unlocked. So they're coming right in through that unlocked front door. They're looking for wallets, keys, cash, purses, jewelry laying around, and then they're going to say something on the radio to their other partner, and that's letting them know they're done and they're out of the house. And then they're going to say, hey, everything's good here. Thanks for your time. You could walk me out, and I'm going to go to your other neighbor's house. It happens that quick. And unless you need a certain item, you might not know that anything was taken until you have to go for it the next time. So stay vigilant. The reason why I say don't ask for somebody's ID is you can go on certain companies' websites and purchase an ID, send your picture in, have your picture put on this ID, and have it say whatever you want. So don't ask to see somebody's ID that comes to your house. Simply ask them what company they're from and tell them, stay right there, I'm calling that company. And then simply call that company and say, do you have workers in this area? And they will tell you yes or no. If they say no, your next call should be 911 because they are trying to burglarize homes. Call 911, give a good description of the person or persons, and if they have a vehicle, a license plate, good description of that. And stay on the phone with us till we get in the area, so hopefully we can catch these people and arrest them if that's what they are doing. Stay vigilant. If something doesn't look right, it probably isn't. Call 911, that's our job to look into it, and don't become a victim. Don't think, well, I didn't become a victim of that scam, so I'm not going to call 911. They may go to your neighbor's house and they may scam them. Call us. Hopefully we can make an arrest and put an end to this because we don't want this in our neighborhoods. If you have any questions about what I spoke about today, please call me at the State Police Barracks. Otherwise, thanks for tuning into our Trooper Talk Tuesday segment, specifically January Scams Awareness Month. Hope you got something out of this, and don't become a victim. We'll see you back here again.
Come shoot at Whitetail Preserve, 118 Boulevard Road in Bloomsburg. Their skeet, trap, and sporting clay fields are professionally designed, and all stations are handicapped accessible. Whitetail Preserve has resident shooting instructors certified by the NRA in shotgun, rifle, pistol, home safety, and personal protection in the home. Whitetail can also cater any size event, whether it be a private party, corporate event, or wedding. Call 570-384-2314 or 570-790-8969. On January 21st, 2026, Triple J licensee of WYLN-CD Channel 26, Hazleton, PA, W36EY-D Channel 36, Berwick, PA, and W09DB-D Channel 9, Williamsport, PA, filed an application with the Federal Communications Commission for assignment of license. Members of the public wishing to view this application or obtain information about how to file comments and petitions on the application can visit publicfiles.fcc.gov and search in the WYLN-CD public file.
Are you sitting at home living in pain? Maybe it's in your hands, maybe your back or your hips. The good news is you don't need to live in pain. Why? Because there is Omega XL, a one-of-a-kind, natural, powerful joint relief supplement created from the green lip mussels of New Zealand. Drug-free, non-habit forming. It's small, easy to swallow, and it's backed by more than 40 years of clinical research. As I was getting older, my joints started to feel that wear and tear. But then I tried Omega XL and it changed my life. If you're experiencing daily aches and pains due to aging and overuse, try Omega XL and see the difference it can make in your life.
Buy one, get two free. 2 bottles of Omega XL plus Vitamin XL D3, a value of more than $85. Call today and you pay only $39.95. Plus, you have nothing to lose because it's backed by our 60-day money-back guarantee. Call now.
Hello, I'm Wyln historian Chris Fulmer. Pennsylvania's communities are filled with interesting history. Come with me as we discover the people, events, industries, and other historic facets of local towns.
Hi, my name is Victoria and I'm 7 years old. Tomorrow the weather will be partly cloudy.
Lehighton would be formally incorporated as a borough in 1861. It had already found a way to bring the community together a few years earlier with the premiere of the Great Lehighton Fair in 1858. Held in the grounds of today's Lehighton Area High School, the fair was in operation all the way through 1992, when it would evolve into today's Carbon County Fair. Among the earliest businesses in Lehighton after its founding were grist mills and tanneries. Other industries would eventually take hold as well. The Lehigh Stove Foundry and Manufacturing Company was an early example, begun in 1865 in the oldest building in town at the corner of Lehigh Drive and Main Lane. It would remain in operation until 1927. Joseph Obert, who began his time in Lehighton as a cabinet maker and grocer, began a slaughterhouse in 1867. Pigs and cow would be taken straight off the train and driven to the facility for processing. Although it burned down in 1875, Obert rebuilt it bigger than ever and continued processing its meat into the 1930s. Frederick Leukel began as a butcher, then branched out into banking. He and his son John built the Leukel Building, the biggest structure downtown, in 1894. The building still stands today as a dentist's office. And Benjamin Colton began as a confectioner, then expanded by buying out George Snyder's bakery in 1900, which proved a very profitable business for him. His wife Maria had also made a small fortune with her hat-making shop, and the two of them purchased much real estate in downtown Lehighton. Cigar factories were also a notable business in Lehighton. 5 of them operate in the borough at various times, including A.F. Diefendorfer's and I.S. Cuck's. Isborn Cuck, owner of the latter, would later get a chance to prove his worth as an amateur detective in 1900, when the body of a man was found in Packerton Yards, having drunk a fatal bottle of carbonic acid. From conversations with his customers while making business trips through the Lehigh Valley, Cuck was able to positively identify the victim as George J. Jones of Richmond Town, Bucks County. For the official officers of the law in Lehighton, the lookout for criminals in the community never ceased. Of course, in 1870, the police's suspicions would be heightened following a bank robbery in Wilkes-Barre. Soon after the crime, a quartet of men were seen hanging around Mance's hotel in a suspicious manner. Gossip soon spread about their possible involvement in the heist, and Constable John Weston decided to bring them in. When he and his men attempted to approach the suspects at the hotel, however, the presumed robbers drew their guns and escaped out the back of the hotel, swimming across the frigid Lehigh River in the middle of a February snowstorm. Weston quickly rounded up a posse and doubled around into the crooks on the other side of the river in Weissport, taking them into custody after a quick fight. The suspects were convicted and sentenced to 20 years in Philadelphia's Eastern State Penitentiary, where they would all pass on. Rumors persisted around Lehighton for years afterwards about $30,000 in cash, bonds, and securities, perhaps buried in Packerton Dip east of Weissport. And in May 1906, 3 unfamiliar men came to town. That evening, they were seen digging over in Weissport. In the general area, the loot was rumored to have been found. Gunshots would be heard overnight, and one of the men would be found shot dead in the site the following morning. The apparent buried loot, if it ever was there, was never found. Towards the end of the 1800s, several other landmark businesses would get their start in Lehighton. Fred Horlocker would open a bottling company on Bridge Street in the 1880s. He and his son George would eventually move their business to Allentown, and as the Horlocker Brewing Company would produce beer for the Lehigh Valley and beyond through 1978. Another business chose to remain in Lehighton, the Bayer Silk Mill, which opened in 1898 at Bridge and South 7th Streets. It would be the largest employer in Lehighton proper, with 264 workers at its peak. Owner Eugene Bayer was a third-generation member of a family of silk magnates from Paterson, New Jersey. Eventually, additional mills would open in both Berwick and Turbitville. The Lehighton Bayer Silk Mill closed in the 1970s. 1901 saw the Pan American Exposition open to guests in Buffalo, meant to be a showcase of American progress. Among the attendees at the Great Fair was Theodore Snyder, who had first come to Lehighton as a school principal and had stayed in town to become a wealthy solicitor and land developer. While at the fair, Snyder fell in love with the Michigan Pavilion, one of several pavilions that were sponsored by states across the country. The building, designed by Detroit's Lewis Camper at the cost of $10,000, was white with a green roof and featured a wide hall and luxurious parlors inside. Like almost all the buildings at the exposition, it was set to be auctioned off following the fair's end. Snyder knew very quickly that he wanted the building, and so, in October 1901, 1 month after William McKinley was assassinated by anarchist Leon Czolgosz inside the exposition's Temple of Music, Snyder, through his agent James Hurd, successfully bid $500 for the Michigan Pavilion. The building was dismantled and started arriving in Lehighton in pieces in early 1903. Snyder had the pavilion reassembled at the corner of 7th and Iron Streets, which was then still mostly a rural area. He renamed the building the Colonial Court Mansion, which soon earned plaudits as one of the most elegant homes in the entire Lehigh Valley. In addition to the mansion itself, the grounds also featured a pond, gardens, and a zoo with peacocks and deer. Theodore Snyder lived in the Colonial Court Mansion until his death on May 16, 1907. His widow Emma remained there until just before her own death in 1915. Their children leased the mansion to Charles and Phoebe Miller, who hoped to operate as a boarding house. These plans would come crashing down, however, on April 7, 1916, when the mansion caught on fire. Muddy roads and fire hydrants also clogged with mud prevented firefighters from being able to do anything to save the Colonial Court Mansion, which burned completely to the ground. A private residence now stands on the site. Only 2 other buildings from the Pan American Exposition still stand today. The New York Pavilion, which today houses the Buffalo History Museum on its original site, and the Wisconsin Pavilion, which is now a summer house in Ontario.
Hi, my name is Victoria and I'm 7 years old. Tomorrow the weather will be partly cloudy.
You're watching WYLN TV 35,